If you could choose to have a housekeeper, a chef, a gardener, or a laundress for the rest of your life, free of charge, and they would do that thing so that you never had to, what would you choose? Now, for me, it would definitely be laundress, but I think that house cleaner would be a close second. Why is it that some things we don't mind that much, yet other things feel like torture, but we still have to get them done? So I want to identify some broad cleaning categories: tidying, cleaning, deep cleaning, laundry, and organizing. Now I'm going to share some science tips and some things that work for me. Hopefully they work for you so we can enjoy cleaning just a little bit more. My kitchen, as you can see, is a little messy. It is my dishwasher day and I'm going to load it.
There is a very good reason why we should start with something that we like. Now, I will tell you, I used to start with the things I didn't like first, even like as a kid, eating the vegetables I didn't like on my plate first. I would do the same thing when it came to chores, but if we start with something we like, this is motivational priming. We're starting with an enjoyable task, and it makes that transition just a little bit better to the more challenging or horrible tasks. And it also helps because it helps us get into a flow state, which a man named Csikszentmihalyi, his flow theory, and this theory posits that people are happiest when they are in a state of flow. Maybe when it comes to doing work, I don't know, but basically being fully immersed and engaged in an activity that challenges our skills, but is still manageable. And effective cleaning, where tasks are a little bit challenging yet achievable, it can induce a state of flow, leading to increased enjoyment. Now, there are times when people are decluttering, and I think this is one of the reasons why so many people hate decluttering so much, is because it's kind of hard to get in that flow state, and there are just so many decisions to be made. So this is a great hack for you if you are going to be doing a job like decluttering or some other job that you're not excited about, or maybe you're a little insecure about, not confident in, then starting with something just like tidying the kitchen. And I mean, if you're anything like me, I feel like I make so many videos where I am tidying a kitchen. It is just always a task that needs to be done, regardless of whatever is going on in your life. Generally, you're eating. Even if you're getting takeout, there's still stuff to deal with for that. And I think that cleaning the kitchen is just such a great primer. It's also a great place and spot or whatever to get kids learning how to do chores. And for me, it just even can be kind of soothing. I really will just get in a flow state and just sort of enjoy myself. Even my husband, like, he will put his AirPods in, he will get going with the flow and just finds it quite enjoyable. And I think even my kids do.
So what can get in the way of you doing your housework and being productive? Now, two big ones are disorganization and overwhelm. And that brings me to one of my favorite topics, and that is clutter. Now, if we come to an area that has a whole lot of stuff, it is disorganized and overwhelming because it is just so hard to clean, that is majorly going to get in your way. One of the things that I found so frustrating about the clutter was shuffling it around. If you have a bunch of things in your house that you are not using, that are not sentimental, and that you're having to move around, like, first of all, should you be moving your sentimental stuff around? Probably not. That is taking up so much of your time, so much of your energy, and it's also going to make it that much harder to clean because you have to manage all of that stuff, which is going to frustrate you. So here's what I suggest. Do that thing that you like the most, like organizing the kitchen, tidying the kitchen, and then do like 10 minutes of decluttering. That's one area that we can tackle. So this now brings me to things that we don't hate, but that we don't love. So for me, that would be organization. So using organization as an example, if we find it very hard to organize and to put things away, It's because we don't know where it's going. And that makes our brain have to think. And that really, really frustrates us, which is no bueno, because our brains do not like being confused and not knowing what to do next. So here's what you do. So there's this thing called self-determination theory, SDT. And basically it's when we feel competent and capable in our task, we experience a higher motivation for it. So basically, and we feel satisfied and we would become better at organizing and putting things away. So what this means is that we can actually learn to love cleaning. So it's basically comes down to practice makes perfect. If you hate organizing or you hate doing the laundry, then the more you do it, the more you might like it. I mean, I've done laundry so many times in my life, I don't love it. But if I'm overwhelmed and I don't know where to start, that can get in the way. Now, you might be saying like, but what about time? Time is one of the biggest things that gets in my way. And I completely understand. Like, I'm a busy person. I got 3 kids. I have 3 cats. I have a husband. I have a business. I have a job. And I have a lot of things that I need to do. One of my biggest tips for you is to remove things from your life. Now, if cleaning is one of those things you hate, somehow figure out a way to remove it from your life. Trade with people or something. Or maybe you've realized you are just overcommitted in certain areas. I know for me, I, for a while, was doing a lot of cat fostering. I might be doing more this summer, but I was very overwhelmed with the amount of things that I had going on in my life. And I had to remove some things because I have my own cats too. And it also really helps to have a regular schedule. Now, another thing that I find very helpful when it comes to learning to love cleaning is to reset and refresh. Now, I'm going to clean this area up as I explain that to you.
I have to be honest that I am not always great at breaking down boxes when I get them. And I just recently did a video about how I get too many boxes. And my goal now is number 1, to order less things or less packages, even just once from Amazon. And another is to break things down more. I want to tell you about one more theory, and that is the consistency theory. Well, actually, it's not one more theory. I got one more after this. But basically, it's that the more time and effort that we put into something effectively, we're more likely to develop a positive attitude towards it. And it's almost just like practice makes perfect. The more we do it, the more we like it. And creating that clear space, the refreshing and the resetting, it just feels good. So we like having a cleaner space.
One of the things I like so much about the resetting and refreshing an area, this is a cat bunny hat, by the way, is the endowment effect, which is an interesting thing. And you may have heard me or other people who love decluttering talk about this. And it's basically like the longer we have something and the longer we care for it, the more we value it. And this is why it's hard for some people to let things go just because they own it or they have trouble selling it because they pretty much are just like, oh, it's worth so much money. So when we have a house or an area that we clean for a while, we build up that pattern, that habit of enjoying having our clean house, we actually start to be like, oh my gosh, like this is so important to me. I want to make sure that this stays clean and taken care of. Another thing that really gets in a lot of people's way, especially people with ADHD, is when things are boring. And I 100% get this. And that is why you probably noticed earlier me putting my AirPods in. And I think I already have lost them. Are they in my pocket? It's empty. I don't know what I did with them. But I will put my AirPods in to entertain myself. I will listen to a podcast. I will listen to music. A lot of people, they like to put decluttering videos on in the background to help them. Sometimes I can't even talk. There are times when I'm like, no, I want silence so I can be thoughtful and reflective. And I think that's great. But there are other times where I'm like, no, this is so boring and I don't like it. So the more that I entertain myself, where I put on something interesting and something that I like, the easier it is for me to continue going. And there are times where I will actually be like, oh my gosh, like looking for more things to clean. And I bet you can understand that. It's the same with the flow state. With the flow state, you are like locked in and you could just go and go and go. So Some things aside from music you might find interesting is to play a game with yourself, to set a timer and see if you can beat that timer. I've done that quite often at bedtime. I will get up and try to get my particular thing I need to get done in the kitchen done in like 10 minutes before I go to bed. So that's one thing I do. Another thing that I do that you may have heard me talk about before is I love to reward myself. And usually it's just something simple like a cup of tea, or maybe you might want to use a cookie, or maybe it's not food. Maybe it's just like putting your feet up and diving into something, or it's reading or whatever. I think it's really great if we can even develop some sort of like almost like a loose ritual around something where like after I do like maybe my weekend cleaning that I get a cup of tea and I sit down with my book and I just enjoy the time. Or maybe you want to not do a big job on the weekend and you like to spread it out. So once a day you do that and then you have dessert, or that's when you go for a walk or whatever. That can be really helpful. Now, I'll be honest, there are times where I will actually straight up pay somebody to come in to help me with my house, to help me get on top of things, to help me with the deep cleaning, because deep cleaning can be a really, really huge burden for a lot of us where we're just like, it's the surface stuff that isn't that hard, like the laundry, which I cannot stand, but I still can make it work if I listen to my AirPods. But if I want to like do a deep clean of like the basement or like some spring cleaning, maybe you want to hire somebody. And I know that isn't always affordable for some people, but think about it this way. You will save yourself so much time and energy if you're able to do that. And if not, maybe you can trade with people, or you can help them, or you can say like, I will babysit the grandkids so that you can help me clean, or something like that. A while ago, I talked about the difference between Clean Mama and Fly Lady because they're both really great systems, but there are some differences and I did have a favorite. So check that video out here. I hope something great happens for you today. Stay tidy and mighty, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.